Bharat's Aatmanirbharta in defense, and we are doing this conversation at a time where, in an era where the Prime Minister said that this is not the century for war, in the last 5 years itself, we've seen multiple conflicts that have flared up across the world, where the nature of warfare itself has changed. Nations may be at war with each other, but they are still trading with each other. Nations may be at a standoff with each other, but they are still trading with each other. Victory and defeat has been decided in 20 minutes in one case, and in the other, it's going on for more than 3 years. So have the entire dynamics of warfare, fights, etc., conflicts, have they changed? And has Bharat turned a page not just in its defense posture, but in its approach to defending its borders itself? And where are we going to go from here? We are at 2025. In 22 years, we'll complete 100 years as a nation, as an independent nation, as Bharat as we know it. But by 2047, are we going to be Aatmanirbhar in defense? Are we going to depend on other nations to import important defense equipment? Or are we going to be a supplier to the world? What are the future? What are the dynamics? And it all starts, viewers, at least from a Bharatiya perspective, with Operation Sindoor. The Pahalgam massacre, and 15 days later the response given by Bharat, the counter from Pakistan, and then a repeat or the escalation that Bharat jumped up the escalation ladder, all talk about a newfound confidence. Because many of our viewers would remember that in the past, we deterred, we backed off, we would send dossiers but we would not foray. There were certain unwritten lines that were sacrosanct and we would not cross. Even if we did, we wouldn't openly say it. But now, it is ghus ke marenge. But to do that, ki hum jaake ghus ke mare, as the Prime Minister said, we also have to have a certain capability. Where are we? Where will we go? What are the learnings from Operation Sindoor? Let's go and talk, and straight across over the course of the next 45 minutes. We will speak to the veterans and let them do the talking. I've done a longish intro just to set up the pretext for our viewers and for them. Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava with us. We also have Lieutenant General Satish Dua, former CISC and also former GOC 15 Corps, and Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, former GOC 15 Corps. My namaste and Jai Hind. My first question to you, General Satish Dua. What is your learning, or perhaps what did Bharat do differently in Operation Sindoor? Would you say that never before had Bharat thought that it will strike at 9 different locations deep inside Pakistani territory? Is that perhaps the biggest shift in our posture? How would you look at it?
Anand, let me begin from my younger days. As a major, as a colonel, when we did operations, we, when they were sent terrorists infiltrated across the line of control, what we had to do was to lay ambushes and try and block them while they're infiltrating, eliminate the infiltrators. Then slowly we got a fence. Then we electrified the fence. Then we put sensors on the fence. What were we doing? We were getting more and more defensive. And yet they managed to sneak past here and there, though we got infiltrators. So that was the time earlier. But in 2016, we decided enough is enough. And we actually went across and hit them across the line of control and the terrorist camps. It was a shallow raid, 3-4 kilometers. In 2019, when there was another high-profile terror attack, we went across and did a precision airstrike deep inside Pakistan. We had found that space below the nuclear threshold. But this time round, in Operation Sindoor, when this deadly carnage took place in Pahalgam, and the Prime Minister announced that we will go after them and their backers, we struck, as we know, in Operation Sindoor at 9 different terror hubs and terror bases. Some of them very close to the sensitive military installations. And we actually announced to the world and to Pakistan that we will no longer sit back and wait for you to come. We will hit where it takes. Thereafter, Operation Sindoor, over 4 days, then they hit our military establishments, we hit their military establishments and all that. What have we achieved in these over this period of time is from being defensive, from a defensive mindset, we have gone on the offensive. We have now also declared that an act of terror will be treated as an act of war. The Defence Minister further announced that we reserve our right to even strike preemptively.
Ji.
And to explain to the viewers, that means if we see signs of terrorists getting together to cause some mischief, we might strike these camps
Ji.
proactively
Correct.
rather than wait for them. So in the end, I would like to say, this is the time that we've traveled over the last 4 decades, nearly 4 decades, and this has brought about a change in our mindset. We've called their nuclear bluff, and Pakistan knows it. I mean, bluster and everything besides, they know it, that India means business, reserves the right to defend itself, and will do it again.
Yeah, so there was the time, Marshal, before I go to General Pandey, because there was air power that was used. In the past also, air power was ready to come into play, but there was a deterrent saying, oh, this is serious escalation. But when somebody exposes their radar systems, their air force, today's technology, and correct me if I'm wrong, reads you. So you also expose where you are. You're ready to give yourself an exposure there. The other part, Vice Marshal, is that the diktat was to hit only the terror infrastructure. So it's precision strikes. So non-civilian targets, non-military targets, but terror identified. That means you're walking into fight with one hand behind your back and saying that you will not kick. So agree, disagree. That requires a certain capability.
I will not agree with that your hand has been put behind and you are really going to do the ops. Essentially, it was the response, because when the Pahalgam incident happened, the tragedy happened, our response, we responded as a nation to say that we are going to come after you. We are not going to start a war, because we are on a different kind of trajectory as far as the economy is concerned. We are trying to become a developed nation, a second, third economy, and that kind of mission we have. So in between there was a disturbance by the neighbor, and neighbor had to be taught a lesson. And lesson in military terms, in kinetics, that is very precise and very accurate and to the point. So actually we follow what we call revolutionary military affairs. We say it will be precise, it will be net centric, and there will be no collateral damage. We achieved that by hitting 9 terror targets. And second thing, the message we conveyed, of course, General has already brought out, we said nuclear bluff or this chonko par sajane ke liye nahi rakhe hain. This is not going to work anymore. We are not going to take that bite anymore and restrain ourselves. So we said, okay, we went ahead and struck them. And that we said, okay, this is what it is. But we always dominated the escalatory ladder. So when they responded, we were able to defend ourselves because of the air defense network which we built. And let me tell you, Anand, it's purely because of the technology play in the whole thing, which started long time back. I remember we started conceptualizing ISCCS in 1998. I was in our headquarters. We conceptualized many other things, space, etc. The space assets, whether it was for electromagnetic intelligence satellite, or it was for radar intelligence satellite, or it was Cartosat for imagery. That time the whole thing was seeded, and we started working on it. So there has been a lot of effort, but in last 1 decade, or say after Modi era started, there was a kick given to the whole system, and system started delivering in terms of missiles, in terms of space assets, in terms of launches and all that, and everything combined together to bring about that accuracy and that precision which really impacted the enemy. And also we told, if you're behind ISI lines or Pakistani army lines, we struck the heartland of Pakistan, so far untouchable, Punjab, Pakistan. And that was a very center. So it gives a very loud message that yes, you're not safe there. There's no safe sanctuary behind the line of control. That I would say is a very prime message, and it happened because of technology, because of precision, and what we had, the capability. There's one thing which we call capability. There's another thing which is capacity. Capability is okay, you can gather together by taking arms, ammunitions from others also. But capacity, you have to have in-house capacity to keep building it up in case you need more and more, like you see in Russia and Ukraine war, or you see Iran and Israel kind of conflict. So if the war gets prolonged, you will need capacity too, and your own indigenous capacity. I think I'll stop here and then.
No, indigenous capacity, but General Pandey, it is also that, in martial arts they say if you block, you should know immediately to attack. And if you attack, you should know immediately to block. So that is something which is, as a nation, were we able to show to the world what was the biggest learning or perhaps the biggest messaging that we were able to show to the world with respect to Op Sindoor?
As Marshal Srivastava has just brought out about capability and capacities, please understand that you may have all the capabilities and capacities, but you don't have political will. You can't do much. Why do you think today Trump and his administration is so not very happy with India, right? Okay, I'll not get into the trade part and other issues. The fact is that today India is the only country beyond America. And if you take Israelis who have done surreptitious strikes across, but not a very clear, bold strike, except for Operation Lion Rise, which happened with Iran after Operation Sindoor. I think we are the only nation which has gone across where a professional army, government, state government is in power to hit across and show our political will through military force, right? Which has not happened in last at least nearly since Second World War. It may have happened sporadically, I don't remember, until the entire army has gone and intervened, like it happened in Iraq, it happened in Afghanistan, and multiple nations have gone across to carry out wage war. But this kind of a punitive punishment, controlling the escalatory ladder with precision strikes to meet the political end state, right, has not happened. This has also happened only because there was a great amount of focus which was put in for that capability and capacity. So both required to feed into each other. It doesn't happen that you have this but you don't have political will, you have the political but you don't have capacity. I think both are required, and that is where today the West is unable to actually accept that a country which was third world country just about 5 years back, a decade back, has now started punching at least along its weight, if not beyond its weight. Right? There's a first shift which is taking place. The second, what has happened is that what has been brought out both by my previous speakers is about how transformation has taken place. Am I in agreement with what is happening today? Do we require to do much more? I think our processes require a major shift. Last 5, 6, 10 years, shifts have taken in terms of some degree of symbolism, some degree of enforcement, unwilling from the military system, but yet thrust down and towards Aatmanirbhar and all. Because fact of the matter is, we have been talking about it for last decade and a half, that the supply chains, the globalization stuff and all is likely to get broken in critical time, and you can't hold your national security hostage to other countries in critical junctures. We are about 2.5, 3 decades behind Shole, the Chinese, and many more decades behind America, and we are not competing with them, right? But surely we require to have certain degree of capability and capacity to manage it. We will talk about it later when we come to discussion what requires to be done. We'll discuss that later.
Correct. But did Op Sindoor also not just show that we've grown in strength, but was it also a learning for us as a nation that where all we need to plug the gaps? Because many ask this question, General Saab, that आप चले गए, आपने वहाँ ठोक दिया, but you took 3 months to even suss out and pull out Operation Mahadev, to neutralize those who were the actual executors on ground of the Pahalgam massacre. So people would ask, are we internally are we using technology? Are we able to secure our borders in such a way that any troublemakers internally are identified, tracked and punished? Or is that too much of an ask? And the other thing is that the CDS later on admitted and said that there was China which was offering intelligence support, real time they were watching. But the enemy or the real enemy may not be fighting, but they also game us. They also see how do we as a nation react in a situation like that. So they will game that for a future conflict or a future possibility. So have we taken all of that into consideration?
Anand, I would agree with you, but I don't agree with your premise. Let me just make myself clear. That we took a couple of months to hunt out and eliminate the terrorists who perpetrated Pahalgam is a small tactical aspect. I will just move on quickly away, but let me just say this so that we don't go away with the wrong impression. counter-terrorism is a very tricky business. It is different dimensions at play, where you get the intelligence agencies to act together, the human intelligence of the beat cop and everyone else put together to act together. But there is also an alienated part of the population that is at play, and then the security forces have to eliminate. Just because this whole thing was too high profile and the nation's focus was on that, and there was a sort of a minute to minute accountability being sought on this issue. Otherwise, we've in the past when I was a co-commander, Devendra has been co-commander there, we've eliminated Abu Qasim after a couple of years, but we did get him. So it actually went on, Burhan Wani, after a long time. So what happens is that terrorists have a shelf life.
Yeah, Bin Laden को 10 साल लगे तो उनको तो फिर
that's exactly what I was going to.
3 महीने तो फटाफट हो
I gave you Indian examples. Bin Laden, you pointed out correctly. So the point being made here, terrorists have a shelf life. We will get them, if not today, then tomorrow. If not here, then there. But we will get them. And that's what happened a couple of months ago. But I agree with your larger construct of the question, that we need to improve our technological prowesses, in which intelligence gathering is a big part. Then the other dimensions that we are seeing at play now across the world, and also recently we saw in Operation Sindoor, whether it is cyber, space, robotics, drones, and many other dimensions that are artificial intelligence that are coming in. Yes, we need to develop capabilities in that, because in tomorrow's world, it is going to be a multi-dimensional and a multi-domain warfare that is going to be at play. It won't be one of these elements. Merely kinetics won't be enough. So, also look at the narratives. The information dimension,
warfare,
strategic information is so much more, strategic communication is so much more important. So, we will have to develop capabilities in all these aspects. We are moving towards it. There are so many things we need to do better than we are doing right now. But all I'm happy to or I sit back satisfied is that a very good beginning has been made over the last few years. We have started involving, we have started involving the industry, the academia, along with the military in a hand-holding role. So we have to, unless we do these things, we will not be able to go it alone. And no aspiring power, if I can call India that, no aspiring power can bank on foreign imports if you really want to be able to assert yourself, whether it is economic field, military field, and like Devendra said, even in terms of political resolve that we've exhibited in the recent past, we won't be able to do it unless we develop on all these fronts.
No, so
we'll just join in the conversation, sir. Sir, unfortunately, what happens is that time and again we focus on national security as a military prowess, right? It is not about military prowess. Sir has talked about intelligence sharing, investment of intelligence and facet and all. It cannot be today's warfare which is flat. It cannot be bifurcated only into military domain and internal domain. The war fighting today is in a flat world. When you're fighting a two-front war, it is 0.5 which is now gravitating towards 1 inside. So if you're looking for quick solutions to not 3 months old of Mahadev, but before it manifests, I think we have to start looking in military, national security capacities from internal security towards anti-national, anti-terrorist operations, going down to this, because there's a very subtle proxy fusion which is taking place. Pakistan is a proxy of America and China, right?
Yeah.
Pakistan has got proxies in terms of terrorists. We got proxies within our own country which are operating for China, Pakistan, and deep
America.
state, right? So this whole national security paradigm is a very flattish organized. While, and as a person in uniform, I'm very, very proud to say that I'm going to look at enemy across the border. My helicopters and planes are going to fly against the enemy. But if you're really wanting to secure yourself, you need to see the roots from within, because actually India or Bharat has never lost ever to outside assaults and wars. We always lost out, starting from the colonial Britishers coming in, to the Portuguese, to the French, or to the Mughals and the Western marauders. We always lost to the left. So when you're looking at national security paradigm, we need to actually, today, the political system, the bureaucratic system has to start looking at shaking hands. Today, IB doesn't talk to RAW. RAW doesn't talk to the military system. There are silos which the instructions will go to NSCS and thereafter start proliferating. By the time it comes down to the man on the ground, there is a huge amount of delay. We may say for a public articulation, you may edit this because it may not look very convenient to our senior political policy makers. But today's war fighting is different, and that is where the Chinese and the Americans are succeeding, because they got a flat world.
See, I resonate with his thoughts that it's a whole of nation approach. It's absolutely whole of nation approach. And if you look at it, and there are examples, Chinese internal security budget is more than the defense budget. Why so? Because unless you fuse and get all the information together, you really can't identify what are the targets which needs to be taken care of.
Correct.
And targets are not only the targets which we say the runways and the military infrastructure or the power infrastructure or the industrial infrastructure. Targets are also within our own country.
Yeah.
And that fusion is very important. And whole of nation approach is the projection of your power. It will come through. After all, what is war fighting or kind of security, securing yourself? Is identifying a target and decimating a target through a weapon system. And in that, you again follow, all the time you follow that OODA loop: observe, orient, decide and act. And for each part of the OODA loop, you need to have weapons, methods, procedures. So when you observe means, how do you get your intelligence? And then when you say orient, you decide, okay, this is what is the situation, how do I orient myself towards it? And then you decide, okay, this needs to be taken care of. And you use certain weapons, certain platforms, certain methods, certain procedures. So you need to be indigenous in that. And whoever controls the tempo of OODA loop is the one who is going to dominate.
First time that there were civil defense drills that were undertaken. It's the first time that a sense of war, foreboding came into the mind of the people, and they realized that they are also under threat and those drones can fly into them. So this awareness also made them realize, oh, we need to have our technology. We need to have our drones. Till then, it was never a conversation. It was never a conversation.
It is always there.
In 1971 war was the last war we had.
Yeah.
The Kargil conflict was mostly...
It was isolated. People in Delhi, people in the other places did not see unless they had a loved one at the front there.
And this time, like you said, drones and cyber were serious threats that could have happened actually inland, in the hinterland as well. So it is very much required. This today's generation has not seen 1971. We have seen 1971. So the point is, it was required that this kind of drills be carried out, and a war-like awareness had to be made for the citizenry.
So this does not need to happen only at a time of conflict. Why I am saying this has to happen across the board, so that there is somebody there who says, listen, I want to perfect this. I want to make sure that I don't have to do this drill. So let me put my mind into doing something, developing something that I won't have to do this drill and I won't have to... see, that's how you're going to trigger minds. Your own thoughts. Now, where is it that we can now create a defense industry in our country? There are defense corridors being built.
Yeah.
The largest part is that we need to generate revenue. पैसा होगा तो हम कुछ भी खरीद सकते हैं, कुछ भी बना सकते हैं. R&D में भी पैसा लगा सकते हैं. पैसा बनाना, अभी तो पैसा खर्च उतर रहा है, तेल और डिफेंस. These are biggest import bills, two biggest bills of ours. How can we reduce the dependence, and what is our potential? Yes. And please,
I think both the panelists have said, Air Marshal Srivastava and Jan Dua has said very clearly, if India, Bharat makes up its mind, we can achieve anything. If space mission can succeed, why can't we succeed in anything else? The day we decide that we are going to own our own people, we will get quality product from our own people, we will start getting it.
So but here, sir, there is also this mindset कि export order मिल रहा है तो हम purchase करेंगे. Internationally test हो गया तो हम तुमसे लेंगे. तुम ड्रोन बना रहे हो, बाहर बेचो, कोई और खरीदेगा तो हम खरीदेंगे. That cannot be the benchmark.
It is
then
changing.
How do you encourage local
production? It is changing. So basic to upgrades is the norm which is happening. So right, that whole system where we used to review our GSQRs, the moment the equipment is repaired, we say इसको दोबारा change करो, is now going out of the shelf.
General, you'll give me
Yeah, please, sir.
permission to take your thought forward.
Sir,
because
please,
I know this. It is not changing. It has changed.
It's changed. Yeah.
Through you, that it is the capability of this country. If there is a will, people will do it. Having lived in both the sectors, private sector and public sector, I'm telling you.
So someone
But
has to
these
drive
needs
the
to
will.
have mandate.
This cannot happen. Corporatization was happening. Okay, it took 4 to 5 years. I was there watching this whole because
Right.
I was really interested because there were ammunition, guns were exploding when you were firing the ammunition. Therefore, there was an issue of quality of this thing. We were running short of ammunition. We were actually looking at corporatization, which is not happening because of the political compulsions. Suddenly, there's a new chap who was brought as defense production, as a secretary def pro. He said, I will do corporatization. Within a year's time, corporatization happened. You look at the functioning of the defense production today is much more finished, efficient and effective. It is now competing with the private world as well. So the private industry may be making 5 times much more faster, but surely it is competing. What I'm saying is that today you need to have an expert panel, which is political led, bureaucratic and military manned, right? To be driven by timelines.
Point is that we want the fact that राजकुमार साहब याद आ रहे हैं कि जगह भी हमारा होगा, वक्त भी हमारा होगा, बंदूक भी हमारी होगी. So that is the point. That, it's got to be our aircraft, our technology, and it's got to be us. And we should have the capacity to even go if you are pulled into a long drawn war. We should have the capacity and the ability to also go for a long drawn. But if we can finish it in 22 minutes, then so be it. That's to our forces. 1:2.5. We'll remember. Thank you. Amazing conversation. Thank you so much. Namaste. Jai.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
साथियों, इस दिवाली में आपकी डबल दिवाली का काम मैं करने वाला हूं। इस दिवाली में आपको एक बहुत बड़ा तोहफा देशवासियों को मिलने वाला है। पिछले 8 साल से हमने जीएसटी का बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म किया। पूरे देश में टैक्स के बर्डन को कम किया, टैक्स की व्यवस्थाओं को सरल किया और 8 साल के बाद समय की मांग है कि हम एक बार उसको रिव्यू करें। हमने एक हाई पावर कमेटी को बिठा करके रिव्यू शुरू किया, राज्यों से भी विचार विमर्श किया और मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हम नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लेकर के आ रहे हैं। ये दिवाली के अंदर आपके लिए तोहफा बन जाएंगे। सामान्य मानवीय की जरूरतों के टैक्स भारी मात्रा में कम कर दिए जाएंगे। बहुत बड़ी सुविधा बढ़ेगी। हमारे एमएसएमई, हमारे लघु उद्यमी, इनको बहुत बड़ा लाभ मिलेगा। रोजमर्रा की चीजें बहुत सस्ती हो जाएगी और उससे इकोनॉमी को भी एक नया बल मिलने वाला है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आज देश तीसरी बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनने के लिए समय है, तेज गति से आगे बढ़ रहा है। हम दरवाजे खटखटा रहे हैं और बहुत तेजी से हम उसको अचीव भी कर लेंगे। और कोई तो दिन होगा मैं आपके बीच आकर के लाल किले की प्राचीर से ये खबर भी सुनाऊंगा। आज भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था और आर्थिक स्थिति को लेकर पूरी दुनिया आश्वस्त है। इतनी अस्थिरता के बीच आशा की किरण बना हुआ है भारत का फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन, भारत की फाइनेंस की ऊर्जा। संकट के घेरे में जब अर्थव्यवस्था पड़ी हुई है, तब भारत ही उसे बाहर निकलेगा, ये भरोसा दुनिया में पनपा है। आज इन्फ्लेशन कंट्रोल में है, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज
Well, it's a special day. It's not just Bharat's Independence Day, but it also marks 50 years of, you know what's behind me, viewers. This is 50 years of Sholay. So let's just segue into a conversation that brings out the fan in us, the fan of Indian cinema, the fan of watching that movie that perhaps for many is the most iconic. How many of us who are watching this remember the names of the characters right behind us? Can anyone ever forget Gabbar, Jai, Veeru, Basanti, Radha, Surma Bhopali? So many other characters. The jailer, Asrani ji. Each and every character, each and every scene is etched in the memory of the true blue Sholay fan. And a true blue Sholay fan would have watched this movie at least in double digits. एक बार देखा, दो बार देखा तो क्या शोले देखा, बार बार देखना जरूरी है. Let's go across to the person, the man who 50 years ago stood at the helm and took upon him the task of perhaps unrolling Bharat's first movie in 75mm and also in stereophonic sound. Ramesh Sippy ji, all of 28 years when you rolled out and decided to do Sholay. Now you are with us. Namaste and thank you very, very much. Congratulations on completing 50 years of Sholay. What are your thoughts? Because it's 50 years and still Sholay, Ramesh Sippy ji.
I'm running out of thoughts. I mean, I'm trying to recall as much as I can, and I'm overwhelmed with the kind of feelings pouring in, and I'm overwhelmed that people still love Sholay and remember its dialogues and its moments and its. So I just don't know how to feel about it. I'm feeling great as a maker. I'm feeling great as the person behind it all. But I don't know. I think maybe tomorrow, when today the first day of the 51st year of Sholay, when I have watched a lot of things, I have heard a lot of things, maybe I'll be able to assess it better tomorrow. But today, I feel great. I feel wonderful that 50 years were completed, and there are a lot of people still who, wherever I go, tell me how they remember the film, and repeat its lines, and repeat its dialogues, and repeat its moments. I'm really, really very touched by everything.
Ramesh Sippy ji, there are lots of trivia. You know, Sholay fans have got Sholay quizzes. Did you knows? Many questions like that. So let me ask you one of the things. Is it true that the first print was actually 35mm because the 70mm prints were still stuck in custom? Is that true?
That's true. The print was stuck at customs and it arrived, but too late to use it. And then from the next day, we got the prints in the middle of the night. The next day, the actual 70mm print was shown.
And is it also true that it was actually originally titled Angare and it was Salim Saab who said that no, it should be titled Sholay? Iska naam Sholay hona chahiye?
No, that I do not recall if it was like that. I think we decided on Sholay all along.
So it was Sholay all along. So that part of it, it was once Sholay, it was always Sholay. But for you, sir, you still remember the first time you stepped up to, which was the first scene that was taken? Which was the Mahurat shot that usually happens?
Yes, I do. The first scene in the Mahurat, the day of the actual scheduled filming was the 2nd of February. But I think Mr. Gandhi, Mahatma Ji must have turned in his grave to think that such a violent film was starting on his birthday. So the gods refused to smile on us. It was raining and raining and raining, and we could not take a single shot. So the first shot was taken on the 3rd of February, 3rd of October, with Amit Ji handing the keys to Jaya Ji, the safe, keys of the safe.
So that was the scene that was shot first, where they decide that they will not loot the
First shot.
Tijori and they will stay back and honor their commitment.
Correct.
And that was your saying 3rd
Very
of October,
correct.
because 2 अक्टूबर को आपने मुहूर्त प्लान किया था, उस दिन बारिश हो गई. And like you said, गांधी जी के जन्मदिन पर इतनी वायलेंट फिल्म कैसे शूट करते? So that was providence.
So, looks like it, and it was not to be, so we had to move to the 3rd.
Acha, I want to understand from you.
Anyway,
Ji, please.
Go ahead.
No, I want to understand from you, which was the first character that you locked, and which actor?
I think we were I mean, more or less, it all happened quite fast. Dharamji, because I had worked with Dharamji, Hemaji and Sanjeevji in Sita or Geeta. All three were the main characters of Sita or Geeta. So they were locked in first, and then Amit Ji and Jaya Ji were next, and we had signed Danny Danzongpa to play the role of Gabbar. But he was stuck when we were ready to shoot. He was stuck with, he was in the middle of a shoot with Mr. Firoz Khan for Dharmatma.
He was in Afghanistan at that time.
So he could not, that's right, and he could not make it. So we had to go for somebody else, and somehow, as things happened, it was Amjad Khan who bagged the role. He was the son of Jayant, a very, very fine artist of his time. And well, I say, as luck would have it, we moved from one fine actor and found another amazing actor.
Yeah. But there was there ever कि कौन सा role play करेगा? Is it true that Sanjeev Kumar ji wanted to actually play Gabbar?
Yes.
And
Everybody wanted to play Gabbar. Because it was very colorful. So the temptation was, but heroes are heroes and they should be heroes. And their heroism also works better when there is a good villain. So I think all in all, we did well, and a new star was born. I think there's probably, I don't think there is a more loved villain that we have seen.
पर एक और ट्रिविया है सर, ये बताइए, क्या संजीव कुमार जी was so keen to play गब्बर that he said कि मैं अपने दांत भी काले कर लूंगा, मुझे करने दो गब्बर? Is this true?
A lot of stories will float and a lot of claims will be made. But every actor definitely felt that the colorful role that Gabbar turned out to be was very much evident in listening to the script.
The other thing was about Dhanno, sir.
And therefore that
about
temptation.
about Basanti, sorry. This equation, and it was perhaps one of the first movies which really openly talked about the female character being so strong and so independent. Was it something which was very different for the times, the character that Hemaji played of Basanti? And the other thing that, you decided not to dub her voice and that she would rattle off the dialogues. How easy or difficult was that?
I think there was a jhalak of Basanti in Sita or Geeta. Geeta was more of a Basanti.
Yeah.
So she was walking on the rope, and she was a very colorful character. Geeta was a very colorful character, and Sita was the subdued one, but Geeta she was hanging on the fan. So all that she was doing, so she was very colorful. So somehow I think that trait came into Basanti, not with that in mind, but when you reflect back on it, there is a little feel of that.
And you were convinced that you didn't need to dub her voice, Hemaji's, despite the South Indian Tamil twang or the South twang in the Hindi, to get the lehza right.
No, she's amazingly and surprisingly, she picked it up very fast. She got the hang of it very quickly. I also thought it might be a little difficult for her, but she surprised everyone and she rattled off her lines really well.
But इस picture में इतनी सारी scenes हैं which are just amazing. That train smashing this one on the that's an iconic scene. The way it has been shot, the camera angles. Then you have the lights being वो जो दिया बुझाती हैं जया जी का character जो है राधा जी जो बुझाती हैं, and then while he's playing the harmonica. Then this entire scene of when the massacre happens and Thakur sees the whole family there. So ऐसे बहुत सारे scenes हैं. Which took the longest time to get it right?
Believe me, all of them did. Every sequence that you see that you have pointed out, they're all any 22, 21 days, 23 days, 24 days. Each sequence took that much. It's, I mean, I cannot help but recall that these are all, and things happened on the set. The massacre sequence, for instance, was, I started to shoot in broad daylight, proper sunlight, and 2 days after that, we shot for 2 days and the clouds moved in. So we waited for a day or two. By the end of the second day, almost the end of the second day, I asked the cameraman, because I started to see the whole sequence in a different light. The ominous clouds, the ominous kind of feel, and it just led itself to a whole different feel in the sequence. The lines are the same, the script-wise it's exactly the same, but the whole feel of it, and then it leading to a point where he gets on his horse and heads for Gabbar.
Yeah,
It all very naturally came to be as if this is the way it should have been. And that again took a long time because then you were waiting for the clouds.
Yeah. So it was a test of patience. But आपके लिए आपका favorite scene कौन सा है?
Sorry?
Which is your favorite scene from the movie?
How can I have favorite scenes? Tell me. It's all mine.
But फिर भी
So how do I have a favorite scene? The lighting of the lamp was equally beautiful.
जी
I mean, you mentioned so many of the scenes which are truly, people talk about these sequences. For me, it was getting it right on the set, the way it should be. And sometimes innovating, making it slightly different, but having the same impact and feel of the original, what it was meant to be. It was all there as it was, and it had an extra little feel about it because of the changes, and it just all happened very off the cuff, as you call it.
One of the characters always stay with us will be the अंग्रेज़ों के ज़माने के जेलर. Now उनका एक वो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक था कि वो सीढ़ी पे जब भी उतरते थे फिसल जाते थे. ये प्लान था सर कि ये हो गया, and to do it every time is so difficult. Can you just talk us through? Do you remember this, sir?
Yes, he is an amazing actor, Asrani. He did it so well. It was just he just imbibed it and made it his own, and came out with a version of it which was quite amazing.
A film that did not get any award except for editing, if I remember correctly, उस साल, despite being such an iconic
Correct,
film.
absolutely right.
दीवार सब लेके चला गया, आपको नहीं मिली. But आप देखिए 50 years down the line.
I have enjoyed my movie making always. I get involved very deeply, and the results have been wonderful. Not every film is as successful as Sholay, but they've all been satisfying, and I've always tried to change gear every time I make a film, and I have succeeded most of the time. I'm very happy that audiences and I have a meeting point somewhere. They like my work, they like my films, and I'm a happy man. Yes, thank you.
Sir, you have made us happy. When we watch the scene, like you can see that I am a Sholay fan. I know scene by scene, character by character. मैं आपसे प्रश्न पूछ रहा हूँ. See, the scene at the Pani ki Tanki, suicide, the way Veeru decides, and how Jai talks to Dadi.
Yes.
So each of these scenes, sir.
Again, Dharamji took off that sequence in such a way. Now, the scene was written for him. He went up there and he spoke the lines, but he then made it his own and spoke a lot of lines that were not written.
So he improvised.
He just, yes, he just made it all his own. He followed the line very correctly, but he went into a thing of his own and it worked beautifully.
तो वो one take में किया था सर? कि अलग बार take किया था?
Sorry?
It was in one take, or did you have to take multiple takes and he just improved upon the scene with each take?
No. We had a few takes and we had a few different shots also, because you have to take some wide angles and some close-ups, and so all that was there. But off the cuff, some of it was off the cuff and some of it was the written line. The essence of the scene was all there. He did not take away from that. He added to it his own bit. And I think it turned out, you're right, it turned out to be one of the best sequences of the film.
एक और कॉलेज के टाइम से हमारा आर्ग्यूमेंट है सर, मेरे और मेरे दोस्तों के बीच में. आप सोच लीजिए, फॉर हाउ मेनी इयर्स वी बीन डिस्कसिंग शोले विद इन आवर ग्रुप्स, दैट देयर वर टू एंडिंग्स दैट वर शॉट. वन वेयर जय डाइज and one where Jay does not die, and you know, Jay and Radha get together. Is this true? And then you decided on the former.
No, there is no such version. It is Gabbar. Gabbar dies. He kills Gabbar, and what the censors did not allow that, and it was an emergency time. So we could not argue too much. They said a police officer taking personal revenge is not fair.
तो सर parting shot, कोई एक डायलॉग आप सुना दें, and then we'll wind up this conversation.
What can I say? अब तेरा क्या होगा कालिया?
Thank you so much, Ramesh ji. Thank you so much. What a conversation, and you've brought back such amazing memories. This movie has been cathartic for a lot of people, and it's been the go-to for anybody who's looked for escaping reality, you know. And let's hope it continues for a few more generations. And here's to 100, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Namaste.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
साथियों, इस दिवाली में आपकी डबल दिवाली का काम मैं करने वाला हूं. इस दिवाली में आपको एक बहुत बड़ा तोहफा देशवासियों को मिलने वाला है. पिछले 8 साल से हमने जीएसटी का बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म किया. पूरे देश में टैक्स के बर्डन को कम किया, टैक्स की व्यवस्थाओं को सरल किया, और 8 साल के बाद समय की मांग है कि हम एक बार उसको रिव्यू करें. हमने एक हाई पावर कमेटी को बिठा करके रिव्यू शुरू किया, राज्यों से भी विचार विमर्श किया, और मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हम नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लेकर के आ रहे हैं. ये दिवाली के अंदर आपके लिए तोहफा बन जाएंगे. सामान्य मानवीय की जरूरतों के टैक्स भारी मात्रा में कम कर दिए जाएंगे. बहुत बड़ी सुविधा बढ़ेगी. हमारे एमएसएमई, हमारे लघु उद्यमी, इनको बहुत बड़ा लाभ मिलेगा. रोजमर्रा की चीजें बहुत सस्ती हो जाएगी, और उससे इकोनॉमी को भी एक नया बल मिलने वाला है. मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आज देश तीसरी बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनने के लिए शामिल है. तेज गति से आगे बढ़ रहा है. हम दरवाजे खटखटा रहे हैं, और बहुत तेजी से हम उसको अचीव भी कर लेंगे. और कोई तो दिन होगा, मैं आपके बीच आकर के लाल किले की प्राचीर से ये खबर भी सुनाऊंगा. आज भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था और आर्थिक स्थिति को लेकर पूरी दुनिया आश्वस्त है. इतनी अस्थिरता के बीच आशा की किरण बना हुआ है भारत का फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन, भारत की फाइनेंस की ऊर्जा. संकट के घेरे में जब अर्थव्यवस्था पड़ी हुई है, तब भारत ही उसे बाहर निकलेगा, ये भरोसा दुनिया में पनपा है. आज इन्फ्लेशन कंट्रोल में है. फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व हमारे बहुत मजबूत है।
I doubt that this meeting would be called for Trump to try to lord it over Putin or to have a failed summit.
What a dramatic shift in American foreign policy this is. In my opinion, a very negative one.
Great anxiety about the unpredictable nature of what may follow in Alaska. Ultimately, there is a recognition that when Trump and Putin get in the room together, that is a huge roll of the dice.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
साथियों, इस दिवाली में आपकी डबल दिवाली का काम मैं करने वाला हूं। इस दिवाली में आपको एक बहुत बड़ा तोहफा देशवासियों को मिलने वाला है। पिछले 8 साल से हमने जीएसटी का बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म किया। पूरे देश में टैक्स के बर्डन को कम किया, टैक्स की व्यवस्थाओं को सरल किया और 8 साल के बाद समय की मांग है कि हम एक बार उसको रिव्यू करें। हमने एक हाई पावर कमेटी को बिठा करके रिव्यू शुरू किया, राज्यों से भी विचार विमर्श किया और मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हम नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लेकर के आ रहे हैं। ये दिवाली के अंदर आपके लिए तोहफा बन जाएंगे। सामान्य मानवीय की जरूरतों के टैक्स भारी मात्रा में कम कर दिए जाएंगे। बहुत बड़ी सुविधा बढ़ेगी। हमारे एमएसएमई, हमारे लघु उद्यमी, इनको बहुत बड़ा लाभ मिलेगा। रोजमर्रा की चीजें बहुत सस्ती हो जाएगी और उससे इकोनॉमी को भी एक नया बल मिलने वाला है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आज देश तीसरी बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनने के लिए शामिल है। तेज गति से आगे बढ़ रहा है। हम दरवाजे खटखटा रहे हैं और बहुत तेजी से हम उसको अचीव भी कर लेंगे। और कोई तो दिन होगा मैं आपके बीच आकर के लाल किले की प्राचीर से ये खबर भी सुनाऊंगा। आज भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था और आर्थिक स्थिति को लेकर पूरी दुनिया आश्वस्त है। इतनी अस्थिरता के बीच आशा की किरण बना हुआ है भारत का फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन, भारत की फाइनेंस की ऊर्जा। संकट के घेरे में जब अर्थव्यवस्था पड़ी हुई है, तब भारत ही उसे बाहर निकलेगा, ये भरोसा दुनिया में पनपा है। आज इन्फ्लेशन कंट्रोल में है, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व हमारे बहुत मजबूत है, हमारे मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक इंडिकेटर्स बहुत मजबूत है। ग्लोबल रेटिंग एजेंसी भी लगातार भारत की सराहना करती हैं, भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था पर ज्यादा से ज्यादा विश्वास व्यक्त कर रही है। ये बढ़ती हुई अर्थव्यवस्था का लाभ मेरे देश के गरीबों को मिले, मेरे देश के किसानों को मिले, मेरे देश की नारी शक्ति को मिले, मेरे देश के मध्यम वर्ग को मिले, मेरे देश की विकास धारा को ताकत देने वाला बने, उस दिशा में हम नए नए प्रयास करें। आज युवाओं के लिए नए नए सेक्टर में हमारे नौजवानों के लिए अवसर बन रहे हैं। स्किल डेवलपमेंट, स्वरोजगार, बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों में इंटर्नशिप, इस पर एक बहुत बड़े स्तर पर अभियान चल।
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks with me, Poonam Burde. From the ramparts of the Red Fort, Narendra Modi delivered his 12th Independence Day speech as the Prime Minister today. He laid his blueprint for a Viksit Bharat by 2047, the thrust of which lies in self-reliance or Aatmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister Modi urged to manufacture everything in India, from fertilizers to jet engines and EV batteries. He vowed to protect farmers in the face of Trump's sweeping tariffs. This is also significant in the light of what's going to happen in a few hours from now. US President Donald Trump is meeting with Vladimir Putin to end the Ukraine war. It's important for India because Washington has threatened to increase these secondary tariffs